Thanks for joining us today. At City Life, we have one purpose, making it easy for people to say yes to Jesus. We believe that today's message will empower you to do exactly that. But remember that church is so much more than a sermon you listen to. It's a living, breathing community that we invite you to be part of. We hope to see you this Sunday morning here at City Life.
More than a fan. Kicking off a new series today, the week after Easter. And, messages like Easter and Christmas are interesting messages in the church preacher's world because there's tremendous pressure to perform. It's really true. It's like you have to bring your A game to Christmas and Easter. Yet Christmas and Easter is almost a little discouraging because these are the large crowd services, and you're trying to put your A game out there so that lots of people come back, right? Because if you do really good, they'll come back, and then they don't. Until Christmas or Easter next year, when they just keep kind of, it's the C&E Christian. You like that? Yeah, it's good. C&E Christian. Not Calgary, Edmonton. The Christmas and Easter challenge here. And it's human nature. You want to impress when the most people are around. That's when you want to impress the most. And it's interesting because when you look at what Jesus preached when he addressed the large crowds, when he was at the peak of his popularity, you know what he did? He preached messages that were most likely to offend people. It's like, okay, let's talk about, your overall business strategy here, Jesus. When you have your biggest crowds, that's when you should wow them. That's when you should, that's when everybody should be impressed the most. And why did he do that? Why would he say things that would offend people when he was just starting to get the most people following him or around him? Is because he didn't want just fans. He wanted followers. And he wanted more than just fans. He didn't want a whole bunch of people wearing their homespun tunics saying, Jesus rocks, with him sitting on a drum kit. I think that's funny. In fact, oftentimes he left his fan base to be with his followers. What's one of the most famous sermons that we know out of the Bible? Sermon on the Mount. Do you know he didn't preach that to the people? It says that all the people were gathered around him. It says that Jesus retreated onto the hillside with his disciples, whom he taught. He's not looking for a fan club. He's not looking for fanboys or fangirls. He's looking for followers. And a great story or a great instance of this is right after Jesus is rising in his popularity. John chapter 6, he just fed the 5,000. He'd done all sorts of miracles. The people are pumped. They're following him everywhere. They're trying to find it. They wake up in the morning. Jesus is gone. And he fed them fish and chips the night before, and they wake up and he's gone. Where'd he go? Well, he got on a boat in the night and he went across the lake. And so what did they do? They run around the lake and they go seek out Jesus. And this is what Jesus said to, he's not like, hey, I'm sure glad that you're here. He says, you're not following me because of what I taught you. You're following because I gave you free food. This is kind of funny, actually. And, how often, the vast majority, even in that time, the vast majority of people weren't looking to Jesus for what he had to say. They were looking to Jesus for what he could do for them. They were looking for free breakfast. mean, it's been 12 hours since we ate. Where's breakfast? You know, little divine bacon, maybe that's acceptable. If the bacon appears from nowhere, can we eat it? It's a little Jewish joke there. They were interested in what Jesus could do for them. And we look at this. This is where they're looking for, now in this context, look at this. They're looking for free breakfast. They're looking for food. They're looking for Jesus to give them something to eat. And this is what Jesus said. He said, John 6:48, he says, I am the bread that gives life. Your fathers ate manna in the wilderness and they died, as you know, but there is another bread that comes from heaven. And if you eat this bread, you will not die. And then he goes on, I tell you the truth, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you will not know life. Oh, this has really escalated, hasn't it? Just wanted fish and chips, like it's, this guy's talking about blood and flesh. This just got strange. In verse 61, I love Jesus. Has my teaching offended you? You just see the look on his face as he said, oh, has this offended you? And then verse 66. I always remember this one because it's 666. And it's after hearing these teachings, many of his disciples walked away and no longer followed Jesus. So as long as being around Jesus is in my immediate best interest, I'll follow him. I'll hang around. But as soon as it costs me something personally, as soon as I encounter a situation that I don't understand or is confusing, I'm out of here. And Jesus, he actually helped facilitate that situation. You know, maybe their reaction to Jesus' teaching was kind of like the reaction in this video. I have to just before you guys run this video. This is a video that was sent to me by a dear friend in the church when I started CrossFit. And maybe their reaction to Jesus was similar to this person's reaction to CrossFit. Go ahead, guys.
I just want to thank all you CrossFitters out there for checking in with us on Facebook at 5 o'clock every morning. I'm glad to know how many AMRAPs you were able to get in during your WOD before my feet ever hit the floor. That's good information to have. You're better than me. Is that what you want to hear? I'm a loser. What? Oh, I know I could be there, but I didn't really have death penciled in on my schedule today, so I think I'm going to pass. You people. Pretty sure wall balls and bear crawls ain't how I'm going out. Jesus is taking me home in a cocktail dress, okay? Not my dancing shorts. Tell you one thing, I'd rather catch my pinky toe on a bed frame than to be caught dead at CrossFit. I ain't doing it.
Oh, that's so funny. Just for the record, I go at 5:30. It's not 5 a.m. And it is funny. But I'll tell you, when you're wanting to change the world, that's not the attitude that changes the world. You know, when Jesus started saying things that were harder to understand, that's the type of, you know, if you think I'm going to eat your flesh and drink your blood, you're crazy. You know, not going to do it. It's, the question I want to ask is, are you a fan or are you a follower? See, followers are part of the team. Many fans will dabble in the sport. They'll go out, take a few shots, shoot a few hoops, might even go to the gym and run a few suicides. But at some point, personal training needs to actually become a part of the team. At some point, you can develop your skills and practice shots for hours at a time, but if that doesn't translate somewhere to a contribution to a team, it's actually missing the point of developing the skill. And as Christians, if we're listening to the messages and we're reading the books and we're studying the word, but we're not actually getting involved in the team, we're missing the point of all the previous activity. More than a fan. More than a fan. You know, the greatest results come from being on a team. And, one of the few glimmers of hope on our hockey team is a man named Connor McDavid. And he is fun to watch as a hockey player. But without a team, he wouldn't have a single assist. You know, without a team, he might actually be good enough to score against a team of 5 people. He might actually be good enough, but he definitely wouldn't be setting any records. You know, you needed to bring out your best. You actually need to be a part of a team. To bring out the best of what God has put in you, your best won't come out by yourself. Your best comes out when you're surrounded by others. Jesus didn't ask us to just be fans. He asked us to be followers. There's strength in team. We need strategic relationships that speak into our lives. And we also need to recognize that there's strategic relationships, that we are the strategic relationship in someone else's life. That there's times that we need people to speak into us, but there's also times that we have something to speak into others, to encourage others, to strengthen others. And if you're not part of a team, you miss that. Not only do you miss sometimes the help that you're going to need in certain seasons of your life, but somebody else is going to miss the help that they need in certain seasons of their life. The greatest reward comes from team. And so why did Jesus, when these people were gathered for this encore performance, why did he talk about commitment? Because he knew that commitment is where things happen. He knew that it's commitment that brings results. Entertainment doesn't do it. Entertainment doesn't change us. Entertainment doesn't transform us. And he knew Jesus, when they walked away, he didn't chase them. He didn't, hey guys, come back. I'm just kidding. I got McDonald's for you today. He didn't do that. And why didn't he chase after them? Because he knew that if people didn't want to take that next step into commitment, that they weren't going to see the results that he wanted to see in their lives. He knew that, without commitment, we don't become the people we were designed to become. So often in church, we go through seasons of growth and we go through seasons of withdrawal. And you oftentimes, when you go through, when you start talking about commitment, you start to go through seasons of withdrawal. Yeah. It's very true. And the reason is because lots of people want to wear the t-shirt, but they don't want to pick up the shovel. This is something that someone years and years and years ago said to me, well, Mike, if you lose a person that doesn't give anything, doesn't serve anywhere, and doesn't contribute in any way to the church, what have you really lost? Wow. Yeah. I'll let you, that was a rhetorical question, by the way, so I'm not going to answer it. What I've discovered is that people who stay fans actually end up critical. Yes. And it's like, how many people do we have that could coach the Oilers better than the current coaching staff? In this room, how many people could do a better job of coaching? It's like, you know why? Because fans criticize. That's what fans do. Fans criticize. Fans have opinions. They have ideas, but they've never what the fan lacks is experience. And experience makes all the difference between making something happen and just being a fan. Fans are the quickest to criticize without actually becoming a part of the solution. It's easy to be a part of the Yay Jesus Club. to wear the t-shirt. That doesn't require any price. But Jesus isn't looking for fans. He's looking for followers. See, fans don't change the world. Followers do. And there's, let's bring this closer to a relationship type of analogy, is that, there comes a point in every relationship where you have to define the relationship. There comes a point, and some of you remember this from years ago when that maybe that spouse you're sitting next to, or that special somebody you're sitting next to, it's like you were kind of interested in each other, but there was nothing official yet, but you were kind of going for coffee, and maybe some of you are in that stage right now in your life in a certain relationship. It's life. This relationship, there's something happening, but you're not sure what quite yet. And what do there comes a point in this relationship where you actually have to sit down and define the relationship. You have to, and if those of you that are married remember the define the relationship moment, don't you? Do you remember the actual moment where you define it? Like, I remember it. It was in August of probably 1990. Yeah, I think it was 1990. And I remember we were out holidaying with a bunch of friends in BC. It was in Radium. And we were just kind of walking, not holding hands because it wasn't defined yet. But we were just kind of walking along, and it's like, just kind of, I really like you. And Monica's kind of, I kind of like you too. Ditto, that's right. Ditto. Ever the romantic, ditto. Twice. And so then we just kind of said, how appropriate was this as we just kind of discussed dating? We sat down and played a game of chess. Little symbolism going on there. It's like, this relationship is not going to be simple. Like, it's going to be strategic all the way. And at that point, we said, I think it was either her or I said, I don't want to date just to date. I want to date with the intention of one day getting married. That was the second ditto. And without defining the relationship, relationships can't advance from being casual hangout time to a serious relationship without some commitment, without some definition. And when it comes to your relationship with Christ, there comes times where we have to define it, where we have to say, are we just wearing the shirt? Or are we serious about this? Are we just fans, or are we really going to be followers? Because in following is where the results come. See, fan or follower, here's some fans cheer, but followers support. Fans watch, but followers participate. Fans criticize, followers encourage. Fans accessorize, but followers equip. Fans don't break a sweat, but followers are the ones making the plays. Fans know about the players, but the followers know the players. Followers are the players. Nothing is expected of fans, but followers take responsibility. Fans aren't personally invested, but the followers, they dig in when the going gets tough. Fans celebrate the victory, but the followers get the trophy. Which one do you want to be? See, Jesus hasn't just called us to celebrate the win. He's called us to take home the trophy. He's called us to have the results, to carry the results of the work. See, fans confuse admiration for devotion. They confuse knowledge for intimacy. Admiration doesn't carry a price tag, but devotion is inconvenient. Following's inconvenient. It means reprioritizing schedules. It interferes with your life. It means you have to set aside time to get things done. There's no way to be a follower without being inconvenienced. But you say, well, why? You're not selling me very well on this, Mike. Why would you say all of this? It's because being a fan, it only works for a very short period of time. And pretty soon you won't be a fan anymore. Being a follower works for a lifetime. Being a follower is where the results come. So how do I become more than a fan? A better way to say this is, how do I make the team? How do I make the team? First is show up. The first is show up. I know, that was really deep and difficult, wasn't it? It's what I gave, or I alluded to it earlier, that I go and I work out at 5:30 in the morning. I do it 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I go Thursday, but they don't have a 5:30 on Thursday, so I don't go then. And the times that I feel like being there at 5:30 in the morning, once in a while, very seldom, but it's amazing how you can work yourself into a feeling, but it's very hard to feel yourself into a working. I know that if I just show up and start, at some point, it might be just when it's over, I will start to enjoy it. But if I wait to feel like going in the morning, when that alarm goes off at 10 to 5, and it's like, sweet Jesus, just a little more sleep would be nice. Show up. The first step to anything is just showing up. And it's not waiting for a feeling to show up. It's not waiting for motivation to show up. It's just like, I'm going to show up. It's amazing what happens with people who just show up. The motivation follows action. I'm not sure who said this, but it's a great saying that most of the great accomplishments in the world, or most of the great achievements in the world, were accomplished by people that were feeling sick, overtired, overworked, and in less than ideal circumstances. And I believe that's true. A lot of times people think that if you just wait for conditions to be perfect, then you can do things. I can tell you, conditions for anything will never be perfect in life. They never are. When you decide to start a workout program, that's when you'll throw your back out. Conditions are never perfect for things. What people that have done things have in common is that they showed up. The second thing about making the team, and I think this is just one that we should all just practice regularly, is encourage at every opportunity. One of the parts of being a part of the team is just encouraging one another. Hebrews chapter 10, it's in the Message version. It says this: so let's do it, full of belief, confident that we're presentable inside and out. Let's keep a firm grip on the promises that keep us going. He always keeps his word. And then it goes on to say, let's see how inventive we can be in encouraging love and helping out. Not avoiding worshiping together as some do, but spurring each other on, especially as we see the big day approaching. Let's see how inventive we can be at encouraging one another. That's a great way to phrase that. Let's see how inventive we can be at helping one another out, spurring one another on. You don't recognize sometimes in your life how helpful encouragement is until you get into a situation where you need encouragement and realize that, what somebody else did actually made a big difference in my life, and how you can make a big difference in someone else's life by being that voice of encouragement. I don't want to be one of those people that talks about their workouts all the time, but I used to not like when people posted their workouts on Facebook and stuff because it's like, oh, look at you. And now that I do workouts, it's like I'm actually quite impressed by people who work out because I know how much work goes into some of these workouts. And I did a workout on Thursday not knowing what I was getting into. And it's a workout called Kalsu. And it's like, unless you're a CrossFitter, you're not going to know what it is. It just sounds like something maybe Oriental. Like, and so, like Chinese takeout. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I'll take that with some egg rolls too, please. It was a workout, and this is what it is. It's 100 thrusters, which a thruster is you take a bar, and it's at different weights. There was like 75, 95, 115, or 135 if you're a beast. And so you do 100 thrusters, and then at the top of every minute, you stop, you put your bar down, and you do 5 burpees. And so now what a thruster is you put the bar on your shoulders, you do a full squat, and then you raise the bar overhead. That's one thruster. And then back on your shoulders, down, up, overhead, 2 thrusters. And so I get there, and some of the people at the gym, they're just like, hey, are you going to do Kalsu today? And it's like, I don't know, I guess so. And so I thought, how hard can this be? I'll do it at 95 pounds, which isn't brutal. Like, that's only 95 pounds. And I thought, I'll just do this in like, maybe 10 sets of 10 and be done. And I do my first set, and it's like, I flag out at like 6. And then it's like, I drop the bar, and it's like, well, that's 55 seconds. I got to do 5 burpees in 5 seconds. And then I do the burpees, and then I get up, and I can only do like 4. And at 12 minutes, I'm only at I'm at about 30. And I'm thinking, I'm going to die. Like, this is going to kill me. And at about 30, I made the decision, I'm going to quit at 50. I'm just going to quit at 50. Like, this is too hard. God did not intend for... I was starting to sound like the chick in the video at this point in my head. And, a couple of the people in the gym, they came around and said, you are doing great. Yeah, where are you at? I said, I'm at 42. You're doing great. Just keep going. And it's like, my brain is saying, you're not doing great. My body is screaming, this is not great. This is torture. People pay to have this pain stop. But that just about every 5 minutes, a person in the gym would walk by. Where are you at? You're doing great. Keep going. And I did it. It took me 36 minutes and 45 seconds. And that's a long time. Especially when you reduce down to 1 and 2 thrusters at a time between your sets. It's like, oh, this is never going to end. But in situations like that, if I was by myself, I would have quit. I would have quit. I know I would have quit because I know myself. I would have stopped because it was hurting. But because there were people around me that they just took them. What did that encouragement cost them? It didn't cost anything. But what was its value to me? In the midst of that. And that's part of being team. There's times that if you're stuck on your own, if you're stuck out isolated by yourself and you're not connected to team, there'll be times that you need encouragement and you're not going to get it because you're not in team. You're not connected. And it's the connection is where the strength comes from. Connection is where the results come from. And sometimes it's just connection is where the endurance comes from. That you won't, there's no point in that workout. I would have felt like doing that workout. If I would have followed my feelings, I would have just quit. And there's times in your faith where you won't want to keep going. But because you just have that people around you, because you have people saying, let's get inventive on how we can encourage so-and-so. Let's get inventive on what we can do to spur one another on to good works, to good things. You know, a life skill of encouragement might be one of the most valuable things that you can bring to the people around you. Bring to your job, bring to your friends, bring to your church. And then the last thing about being part of the team is just do what you can do. You say, well, I can't preach, I can't teach. Well, you don't need to. Do what you can do. Romans 12, it says, since our gifts vary depending on the grace poured out on each of us, it's important that we exercise the gifts that we have been given. If prophecy or speaking is your gift, then speak as a prophet according to your portion of faith. If serving is your gift, then serve well. If teaching is your gift, then teach well. If you've been given a voice of encouragement, then use it often. And if giving is your gift, then be generous. If it's leading, then be eager to get started. If it's sharing God's mercy, then be cheerful in sharing it. See, there's not a one-size-fits-all way to follow Jesus. There's just your size and learning to follow and taking what God has put into your life and using it to encourage and to help others. What is your gift? If you love to smile, you love to greet people, you love to make people feel welcome, there's opportunity all around. You can welcome home team. There's the parking lot. Maybe you love to work with kids. There's opportunities all over. Maybe you love to help people that are hurting or people that are in certain distress. It's like I can't teach a Bible study, but I can sure make a meal and take it to somebody who needs it. Whatever your gift is, do it with all your strength. And maybe you're not sure what your gift is. Well, you know, a great thing to do, fill out a first serve card. And we'll help you find your gifts. The Next Steps track, we actually have a whole section on discovering your spiritual gifts and putting them to work. We'll help you get started. That's in the next service. And there's just so many aspects that we actually discover what's in us together. And sometimes it's going to be someone else that's going to look at you and say, you have a gift in this area. And they'll bring the best out of you. Let's stand up. Why do we challenge you to be more than a fan? Because to be honest, being a fan sucks. Once you've been on the team, you'll always want to be on the team. That's where the results come from. So for some of you, you've been on the team. I don't need to sell this to you. You own it already, many of you. Some of you are thinking about getting on the team. I want to encourage you, take that step and become a part, because it's where the fun is. It really is. It's where the fun is. It's where life gets interesting. And for some of you, you're not even sure if you believe yet or not. And that's okay, because what I find interesting is that Jesus actually just invited people to follow him before he actually asked them to believe in him. And a lot of times our belief comes out of following, not the other way around. In fact, I think he was sometimes intentional about not asking people to believe in him, because he didn't want just believing fans. He wanted followers. And people who follow then believe, wow. A lot more convinced than a person who says they believe but then don't do anything. So we're going to pray. And if you're here today and you've never said yes to Jesus, and you're just saying, I'm not sure where I'm at with this, I'm just going to lead us in a prayer. It's a prayer saying yes to him, following him, and you can feel free to join in as we pray. Let's pray together. Jesus, I say yes to you. I want to follow you. I want to learn more about you. And I want to give you permission to change my life, to work in my life. And as I follow you, would you show yourself to me? In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Father, I pray for all those here as well that are on the fence about jumping in and being committed to you. And maybe it's been belief, maybe it's just been they've been fans, but they've been nervous about being committed to being followers. I pray that you would give strength and boldness to them to take that next step and experience the best of what you have for them. In Jesus' name, amen.
We hope today's message encouraged you. If you want to take your next step in saying yes to Jesus, you can always contact us at cty.lc or fill out the next step section on the City Life app. It's an honor as a church to play just a small part in what God is doing in your life. And we look forward to seeing you soon here at City Life.